Hi, I'm Allie,
And I'm Matt.
and we are from Bakersfield, California, and we recently quit our jobs and are now traveling the Americas in our big red van, Clifford.
So we converted Clifford in about 6 weeks, so we definitely did it in a hurry. We tried to capture as much footage as we can, but if you have any questions about how we built something or how we did some piece of the van, please leave us some comments or questions. We'd love to make more videos detailing exactly how we did it.
So where are you at?
On the roof. So we've been going back and forth about kind of the layout for the solar panels and the fans and everything. So we got our fans. So I was able to take some measurements, make sure everything's gonna fit right. So I tried to lay everything out up here with a Expo marker. And we got to fit 2 MaxxFans. So we got one at the back right over the bed, one in the front, kind of near the sliding door next to the kitchen. And I was able to fit 4 solar panels that we got. They're each 110 watts. So I'll have 3 running sideways. 1, 2, and 3. The 4th one's gonna run here, up the van, and that makes room for our MaxxFan right here. And our stovepipe for our wood burning stove is gonna come out of the roof right around here somewhere. I got some flexibility to move that around because I'm still not 100% sure on where that's gonna land, but I got like a couple feet to work with, so. We cut the hole for the MaxxFans using a jigsaw with a metal blade on it and a drill, similar to the way we cut holes in the countertop, lining out the exact size and dimensions we want with a Sharpie, drilling a 1/2-inch hole at one of the corners, and then using a jigsaw to follow it around and make the final cutout. Pictures of it.
Me being bossy at you, you just took a photo of that?
No, it's your video.
Oh, great!
Oh yeah.
Woo!
So Allie wanted me to show you how I laid up the butyl tape, which is basically like this like Play-Doh kind of putty stuff. So I ended up laying 3 layers. You can kind of see all 3 right there, of 1/8 inch thick, and it's 3/4 of an inch wide. So I tried to make sure that I hit all these holes. I'm gonna go ahead and pre-drill the sheet metal. Allie's working on getting that wood frame that I built stuck up there. So I skipped over these areas where the roof rises up. So there's 3 layers of butyl tape, and then here I just did a lap sealant. Sorry, I can't really see that. Here I just did a lap sealant on all 4 of those on this particular fan. Since it's offset off center, we had to go over 2 of those little ribs. So just wanted to share that with you. So basically, yeah, I'll drill those out, and that's it. All right, so we just got done installing our MaxxFan, one of them. We got 2, so I got to do another one in the front, but I wanted to share a couple learnings that I had. So let me turn the camera around and show you what we got. So I made this 2x2 frame for it. But let me see if you can see here. You can see where the frame was not pulled tight against the roof of the van when I started screwing through it. And because I used a pretty small drill bit to pre-drill the sheet metal of the roof, the screws bit into the roof, and then we have this gap here, which I tried to suck down as much as possible. I tried to actually strip out the metal here. I ended up breaking one of the screws. So next time, when I do the other one, I'm gonna use a bigger drill bit, pre-drill the metal. Probably won't pre-drill the wood at all. That way it should free spin in the metal and really suck the wood up against the top of the van. That was one learning. Other learning, we used a jigsaw to cut, and that went pretty well. I will make the hole a little bit larger because I made it almost exactly the same diameter as the bottom of the MaxxFan install, and you can see where it kind of bulged out there a little bit. Some of the butyl tape pushed into the inside of the plastic cover. We test fit the fan already. Everything fits okay, so shouldn't be a problem, but just for future reference. All right, so this clamp configuration is kind of what we came up with. Earlier on I showed you what happened on our rear fan over there when we tried to screw that wood 2x2 frame in. So to help just assist, we ended up using some C-clamps, grabbing the underside of the wood frame and grabbing the top here. This one went in pretty well. There was a little snafu because we're screwing down in between this little riser and this riser. When I tighten this, clamp. When I tighten this middle screw, it really put a lot of like almost torsion on this plastic frame and ended up bending it like that. So I actually had to back this off a little bit. I don't think I have super good contact with the butyl tape in there, so I'm gonna put some extra lap sealant. The side on the back looked like it squeezed out a little bit, so it got a little bit tighter. Not sure the difference there, but who knows? Just letting you guys know, if you are running a fan between those two posts, be careful for that. Too much bending and I don't think the fan would fit in straight. A little bit doesn't seem to be an issue. We had a little bit on the one in the back as well. So we've been staying at my grandma's house for the last couple days in Boone, North Carolina, and we came out to the van. It's been kind of rainy for the last couple days, but we've been staying in the house just because she has a king bed for us, and the van's kind of parked on a slope in her driveway. But we came to the van and we found this. Found like some bubbling on the wainscoting around the corner of the MaxxFan bezel there. So I crawled up on the roof. So I get you guys up here one-handed. Oh, okay. And you can see the lap sealant's pulled up in a couple places, and I'm pretty sure it's letting water in. Obviously even worse since it's kind of sloped towards it. So I think we got quite a bit of water in the roof, which is definitely unfortunate. Not really sure why that happened, but I'm gonna try to pick up some lap sealant and get it taken care of. See if we can at least patch it up. So, not sure if it was a humidity issue, if it was like a temperature issue from the roof fan getting hot and cold. Obviously, with the MaxxFan and those kind of I don't know, divots, not divots, but ridges in the roof, it was a good chunk to seal. Obviously, there's also butyl tape under there, but clearly that didn't seal it all up. It kind of looks to me like the MaxxFan's picked up off the roof a little bit. I can't really explain why that would happen, but so no, if you're building, make sure you check your roof a little more frequently. I was up there working on that flue pipe just last week, but I didn't look hard to see if we had any other issues there. So I haven't checked the MaxxFan in the back. I'm gonna do that. I gotta actually crawl up on top of the roof to get that. So probably just do it after I get some sealant and get it taken care of. All right, so I'm up on the roof. I'm going to show you guys a little bit more about the issue we're having with the leaking. This is the side of the MaxxFan. You can see where on this side I had the butyl tape push out quite a bit when I tightened down the top of the MaxxFan. So I kind of lap sealed the top and bottom of it. Here though, you can see where I lap sealed kind of the entire gap just because there was less butyl tape that squeezed out for whatever reason. Basically it was between the two screws. And the lap sealant has left this, it pulled back into itself where it's attached to the metal and where it's attached to the plastic and left a gap in between. On the front, you can see the same thing happen here with that gap, and over here there's a huge hole for that gap. So I'm not entirely sure why that happened. It may be because of the lap sealant's self-leveling qualities. Seems to be holding up okay right next to it, but this is definitely letting water into the inside of the van. It's difficult to see whether the butyl tape is in good shape back there. I may have not used enough butyl tape to bridge this lower part. Since the MaxxFan sits up on top of this ridge, you have to kind of build up all under here with butyl tape. I tried to use enough, but maybe I didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this off with isopropyl alcohol and go back in with another caulking. I don't have any more lap sealant. Like I said, I'm in North Carolina at my grandma's house. You can't get lap sealant at Lowe's. She had some Dynaflex 230, which is a latex based sealant. It's more for houses, at least marketed for houses. But a lot of the lap sealant's really marketed for RV rubber roofs and stuff like that. I think camper van people started using it because it's so popular in RVs. And there seems to be, you know, hey, if it's good for an RV, it's good for a camper van. So obviously I had some challenges with it. I would love to hear from anyone who has some experience with it, either how I went wrong on the application, or if you had a similar experience with it kind of pulling away like that. I'm gonna clean it with isopropyl alcohol and just kind of patch and reseal, particularly the bad sections with this, and at least give that a shot for now, just because it's a fix I can make right now. It's supposed to rain again later this afternoon, so kind of prevent any further damage from happening. I haven't checked the back fan yet, but I'm gonna do that, so I will report out to y'all then. And I just found another spot right here where it's starting to crack and pull away. So I think the biggest issue might have been because of this big, large gap that I tried to seal, just because of this ridge on the roof. And the lap sealant's not liking that very much. It's trying to pull away. So the good thing is the documentation on the caulk that I'm trying to use right now, the sealant, the Dynaflex 230s, it's supposed to be able to seal gaps up to 1 inch. So hopefully, because it doesn't have any self-leveling properties, it's not going to try to pull away from that top lip. That's my best guess right now as to what's happening, so I forgot to show you that. I'm going to have to seal majority of this thing up again. I am going to try to put it over the top of the lap sealant just because I don't want to try to remove it right now, but we'll test it. I'll try to keep an eye on it and see if, you know, if that's an issue. I can come back up here, rip all this caulk back off, and reseal the whole thing. So let me know what you think. Definitely out of my wheelhouse here a little bit. So if you're a pro, leave me a comment. Let me know whether I'm doing the right thing or if I need to get up here and change something, use a different caulk, pull everything off, whatever that might be. So thanks, y'all. So here's kind of the finished product, just a patch. Unfortunately, this stuff was brown. I guess you can't really see that because of the shadow. But yeah, I patched the whole front side lip of that, back there. I didn't do any of the back. I kind of poked around in here and everything seems pretty good. I don't feel any weak spots.
Hot on your feet, doesn't it?
But that's that. So another back MaxxFan. I kind of shot myself in the foot a little bit with where I put the solar panel, because it is, you know, only probably a 1/4 inch off the front of this fan. And I did that just to kind of maximize my roof space, keep them away from the flue pipe as much as possible. I didn't want some of that combustion gas, you know, like fouling up the top of the solar panels. But I definitely can't get in there to put any more caulk, and it's really hard just to get in there to inspect. So I can kind of look down in there and see the condition of it, and it looks okay. This side looks much better than the front fan. I think I used a lot more sealant on this one. Both sides are looking pretty good. I'm not really seeing any holes. I bridged between this, and because it's in the center, it's sat right in the middle of these two ridges. So I kind of bridged between the two with the lap sealant, which I think is going to help a lot. It won't have that issue of trying to pull down and away because it's got support kind of in between the two. But given that I don't see any issues back here and I can't really get to much, I think I'm just gonna call the back one good. There's no evidence inside of any leaking from the back one. So I guess that's that. Hopefully that one holds up.
So we're just cutting holes in the roof ceiling. It's late, we've been at it a long time. And we did 2 holes, one for the LED light, this is just one piece of the board, and one for the chandelier, and I'll show it to you. There's the LED light. We cut a hole with the drill and then use the jigsaw, and then using the drill to...
Why is it not cutting through there at all?
We gonna have lights. What do you think, Goose? You excited?
Dullest drill bit ever. Holy shit.
This is the chandelier that I made. It's just copper piping from the plumbing section at Home Depot. And then this is just a string LED light we bought off Amazon that has a dimmer, remote control. And yeah, we're gonna just connect it to the ceiling, and I think it'll look really pretty. Keep you updated. So we just bought this piece from Home Depot in the plumbing department. I don't even know what it's for.
This is like an iron pipe fitting. This is an electrical compression fitting.
Yeah.
I think, or brass compression fitting for water or something.
Screwing it into the roof before we mount it. So I may have done it off center, but it works. She looks pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And look. We can rave. Okay, so I'm making this light, or smocking it up right now at least, with a zip tie. It's not gonna be there forever. Don't look at me like that.
That's fine.
Um,
No, see it.
but this is these are just copper wires from the plumbing section at Lowe's, and then this is a metal decorative grate from, it was in the hardware section actually at Lowe's. And then this is just copper LED wire. And I might make it a little shorter, I don't know. We'll put it up there and see how we like it. But yeah, this is a little chandelier DIY. Here it is, all done. We use zip ties to hold the metal sheet together in the back. You can't even see them. Maybe you can see them from here. Yeah, there's 2 zip ties there. And then we threaded the copper wire through the bottom and the top to hold the sheet in place. And then I just messily wrapped these lights around it and cinched it to the roof with these little copper, I don't know, hooks you call them. They were in the plumbing section too. And there's a little chandelier. If you like this video, what should you do?
Subscribe!
Subscribe! Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you have any questions, if you're like, what the heck, what did they do? They skipped over this part. Hit us up. We'll make sure to respond.
Oh, Amber, you're such